What is up guys, Card Hacker here, and today I'm here with another Digimon deck profile. Today we'll be going over the Rosemon deck from BT-15. Apologies for the delay in the Rosemon deck. I haven't had a lot of chance to play with this deck before, so I was putting it on the back burner for a bit. But now that I've been testing most of the other decks already, we have a chance to work with the Rosemon deck. And this is a pure Rosemon build. It's not using Bloom Lord or any of the Quartzmons or Quantumons, because I know a lot of green players like to use those cards just because they are really good generic cards. But if you want to play Rosemon, I think this is a build for you guys to look at. Especially since if you guys just like Rosemon and you guys want to play with your favorite waifumon, then I guess this is a deck to look at. But let's get right into deck profile first. So for the Digitamons, we're running 4 of the Chocomons from EX4. So whenever one of your Digimon is rested, you can draw a card. So this is just here to help you dig through your deck. I think this is one of the better green eggs for this deck, just because you do rest your own stuff and it is very easy to do. So there is that. Right, so for the level 6s, we're running 3 Rosemon X-Antibody and 4 of the Rosemon base from BT-14. So this lineup is kind of up to you guys. If you guys want to run Quantumons or Quartzmons, you can kind of adjust with this ratio. You can just cut one of these out for another copy of something else, and then one of the options we're running, you can also cut one of those out if you want. But I think this is a standard Rosemon line. You can run 4/4 if you want, if you have the space for it, but I think this is just a nice lineup that you can consistently get, and we do have ways to search these out. So let's go over the Rosemon X-Antibody first. So the first effect is on evolution, you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and one of your opponent's Tamers, and then those cards cannot unsuspend until the end of opponent's turn. And then on your opponent's turn, once per turn when your opponent is played, you may suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It is optional, so you can choose which one to suspend. And then on your opponent's turn, once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon moves from the breeding area to the battle area, if this card has Rosemon or X-Antibody in its traits, you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So very good for stunning. This card is really good just for starting out plays, which is what green does well. And yeah, it's just an overall solid card to have, and it's more of a defensive card that is good on your opponent's turn. So most of the time we'll be using this defensively, and that's why we're running 3. Next, we are going to be running 4 of the Rosemon from BT-14. It has an attack and on evolution ability, which is you can just suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And then the second ability is on your turn. When a Digimon or Tamer is suspended by an effect, you can make this card active again. You can unsuspend this card. And the reason we're running this card over the Rosemon from BT-13 is because the unsuspend effect is not linked together with the suspend effect. So if you suspend your own stuff, you can still make this card active again, which is good, because as you can see for the BT-13 Rosemon, you can unsuspend itself on evolution, and then you don't get thing anymore. I guess this is also good for defensive plays, but I personally like to have the Rosemon more, just because this deck doesn't have a lot of offensive options, and being able to swing twice is pretty good. So we are going to be running 4 of the BT-14 Rosemon, and there's a lot of cards in this deck that can help you suspend. Or if you don't suspend your opponent's Digimon, you can suspend your own stuff. So it's pretty easy to do, and you'll be able to get some swings off that way. Next, for the level 5s, we're running 4 of the Lilymon X-Antibody. So on evolution, you can rest. If your opponent has a Digimon in rest, you can get 1 memory. And then if you have Lilymon or X-Antibody in source, you can draw a card for every one of your opponent's rested units. So this is a really strong draw engine, and the inherent ability is during your turn, for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon, this card gets +1k. So you'll help you protect your Rosemon for swings. So yeah, overall it's just a really solid new addition to the Lilymon line. And yeah, the draw engine is really good, especially if you're playing against a deck that has lots of Digimon on the board. So pretty good. Quite good against swarming decks. Next, we're also running 2 of the Rosemon Ace. So this card is one of our hand traps, or the only hand trap that I'm running. So on activates Blessed Evolution, and then on evolution or on play, you can rest one opponent's Digimon, and then afterwards you can rest one of your opponent's 5,000 power or less Digimon will be rested Digimon will be returned back to the opponent's deck. So a little bit of room over there as well, but it's not that great against bigger Digimon. So most of the time you'll be using this against small fries, but it's still nice to have, especially if you can rest something that unsuspends on their attack. So pretty decent. Next, we are also running 2 of the Digimons from ST4. You can run this. You can run any other Digimon if you want. You can run the security check one also if you want, but I think this one is better, just because it does give you a little bit more consistency. So you can search for your level 6s if you somehow brick, or if you have one in your hand but you don't have the right one, you can use this to search for that. So I think it's pretty good. Not too many though, because it doesn't have an inherent ability. So I think this card is good to digivolve into just for the search, and then you can go into your Rosemon X-Antibody afterwards. Next, moving on to the level 4s, we're running 3 Rosemon X-Antibody. We're only running 3 because we're not running a full lineup of Rosemons, so there is a chance you're gonna not digivolve on top. So we're running 3 of these. So on evolution, the end of our opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon cannot unsuspend. And then if this card has Togemon in its source or X-Antibody, you can rest your opponent's Digimon. So pretty solid stun, but I think there's better level 4s in this deck. I think the BT-15 Togemon is one of the best cards in the deck. It's so good. So basically, during your turn, once per turn, you can play a Tamer by resting one of your Digimon. And then if you do it by this effect, the cost is reduced by 3. So you can pretty much play the Searcher Mimi for free, which is really good. And the inherent skill is just when this card would digivolve, you can if you have a Tamer on the board, you can reduce the cost by 1, which is really good as well. Next, for the other level 4s, we're running 2 Sunflormon from BT-13. So during your main phase, you can rest this Digimon to digivolve into a vegetation or a fairy type for 2 costs less. And the inherent ability is also the same. So not much else to say about that. But overall, it's just good for cost reduction, and if you have enough memory, you can just slap this down and use it as a rester for your other conditions. So pretty decent card. We're also running 3 of the Sunflormon from BT-10. I think this lineup is flexible. You can kind of readjust the ratios you want, or if you want to run 4 Rosemon X, that's also fine. I just feel like this card is really good. It's on evolution. You can rest one of your Digimon, and then from your hand you can play a vegetation or fairy type card that's 3,000 power or less without paying its cost. So that's pretty much all of your level 3s. So just a solid card to have. And if you've rested it, that's fine. You can set it up for a Digimon next turn if you want. If you don't think it's going to get killed. And for the level 3s, we are running 4 of the Rosemon X-Antibody. So on play or on evolution, you can rest one opponent's Digimon. So this combos well with your Sunflormon. And the inherent skill is if you have a Tamer, if you play a Tamer, you can get 1 memory back, which is a green Tamer, which is not hard to do with this deck. And we are also playing 4 of the Palmon from BT-14. So we didn't update our BT-14 deck, so let's also go over these cards. So at the start of your main phase, until the end of your opponent's turn, you can choose one opponent's Digimon, and when this card rests, they lose 2 memory. So it's pretty much you getting 2 memory. And then the inherent ability is, when this card would evolve, if you have a green Tamer on the board, you can reduce the cost by 1. So really, really good card. I think this is a really good generic green level 3, and I would suggest you guys pick this up if you're a green player. Just pick up multiple playsets because I think it's just really solid. Like you can run these in like the Bloom Lords and stuff. So I think yeah, definitely one of the best level 3s that came out from BT-14. And it's such an easy condition to fulfill for green too. So overall really solid. All right, let's go over the other level 3. So we're running the BT-10 Palmon. Play look at the top 4, grab a vegetation and fairy type. So it just fits really well with deck. I think this is still one of the best Palmons just because the range it can fetch is just really, really good. So running 4 of those. And for the Tamers, we're running 2 Mimi from BT1. This is, you know, still one of the best Tamers in the game in my opinion, just because you can just pump out cards from the raising area, which is really, really good. And you can potentially player for 1 cost, which is just super value. I would play 1 more if I had space, but I don't, so I'm just going to be running 2. I'm also running 4 of the Mimi from BT-14. So this card is on play. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, grab a vegetation or fairy, and then you can add it to your hand and then put the rest at the bottom. And then on the second effect is whenever a Digimon is rested by an effect, you can rest this Tamer to get 1 memory. So it doesn't have to be your opponent's Digimon, it can be your own Digimon. So overall, just really easy to refund your memory. And since you're going to be playing for this for free, you're just getting free memory. So it's really, really good searcher. And yeah, just a solid Tamer overall. Next for the options, we are running 3 of the green training. So this is just, you know, pretty much mandatory in decks now. So running 3 of those. If you don't have space for it, just run more memory boost. It's fine. But I think in this current format, you kind of need these. As I mentioned in my other decks as well. If you don't have, you can just run memory boost, but these are a little bit better. We're also running memory boost just because memory boosts are also good, just not as good as the training cards. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. The optional lineup is also optional, no pun intended. So if you don't have the training cards or they're too expensive, you can kind of cut these out and run these as 4 memory boosts. And then this can be either a removal option, or you can run Quantumon or Quartzmon or pretty much anything you like. Or if you can also run the extra Mimi if you want. So overall pretty solid. But yeah, these are also good because you can search for your Tamers, which this deck kind of needs. Alright, but that's pretty much it for this deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. But this is Karataku, and I will see you guys next time.